struggle lately. It's the Church Solutions Podcast. My name is Phil Thompson.
And I'm Steve Lacey.
Steve Lacey, who are you? It's been so long, I can't remember.
I know. It has been a while.
It's been a while since you've been on the podcast with me. You're our co-host, but you were absent, and people were calling in wondering if everything was okay.
Yeah, I bet they were. Yeah, guess I can't go on vacation or get busy or stuff like that.
That's right. You can't do any of that. You have to be on the podcast every week. Well, That's okay. We'll let it slide this time. This is brought to you by streamingchurch.tv, which is us. We provide streaming video for churches and ministries. We've been serving churches and ministries in some capacity since 2001. And coming up here in July, it's going to be 25 years.
Yeah, August, actually.
August? I was thinking it was July. All right.
I'm pretty sure it was August. August, when we went live at my home church with our initial product. Those were fun times.
Yeah, I bet they were. Well, still almost 25 years. So we'll wait till August to celebrate. So there you have it. Did I say this is episode number 525?
No, I don't think so.
Well, you missed some of our great podcasts, Steve. Of course, have you caught up yet? Have you listened to them?
I think I have, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I've listened to them. All
right. Well, good deal. Folks, you can always just Google or whatever, Church Solutions Podcast, and there's different places you can listen or watch us, depending on the platform that you get your podcast. You might want to subscribe to them. We talk about a lot of topics, usually technical, but when I say technical, it's not technical in the sense that you probably wouldn't understand what we're talking about. It would be probably helpful for you depending on what you do. But we don't always cover that. We cover stuff that's pretty much always related to ministry. So check it out, Church Solutions Podcast. So today, what are we going to be talking about today?
What are we talking about today? What's our title here?
Five signs your church website. I'll just go ahead and say it. 5 signs your church website isn't ready for visitors and how to fix it.
All right.
Now, some of you those of you who are devoted podcast listeners might be saying, Phil, it's July, or it's almost July when we're recording this. You might be saying, Phil, it's summertime. Nobody's going to come visit our church in the summertime. So why are we worried about this? Well, there's a couple things I want to say about that. First of all, you can still get visitors in the summertime. You still get people looking at your website and wanting to come visit your church. It's very common. I worked with churches for years as an executive pastor and senior pastor. In fact, when I was a senior pastor, we actually grew quite a bit in the summertime. I remember talking with another pastor about this years later, and he actually got angry at me. He said, no, you can't do that. It's like, all right, whatever. But you can grow in the summertime. So people are still looking. Just because it's summertime doesn't mean they don't think about church or think about looking at a church or anything like that. Okay. So that's one thing. The other thing too is this. Okay, it's summertime. Maybe things have slowed down a little bit for you. So maybe you should take a look at your website, and we're going to cover that today. And, take a look at some things that we bring up, maybe some other things, and think, yeah, maybe we could improve this. Maybe we could change this, that kind of a thing. So be a good time to look at it and maybe start to do some work on it. So when school starts, there's usually a bump in attendance when school starts. So usually when school starts, you'll see some growth. You'll be ready by that time. And of course, ready for the holidays. All right. So shall we jump into it?
Let's do it.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Steve Lacey. Five signs your church website isn't ready for visitors and how to fix that. So the one thing that you and I, and all of us here at streamingchurch.tv kind of, chuckle at a little bit, and that is the watch live button is sometimes hard to find, and it's more like an Easter egg hunt when you start to look for some churches, when you try to find the watch live button. And by the way, before we jump into this, it's on a blog. So you can go to blog.streamingchurch.tv. We have a lot of articles. And if you look for blog.streamingchurch.tv, you'll look for 5 signs your church website isn't ready. You can keep score at home. Okay. So the watch live button is an Easter egg hunt. That's a sign that your church might not be ready for visitors.
Yeah. So, I mean, this really comes down to prioritizing things or figuring out what your priorities are, and maybe not what your priorities are, which is another change of attack on this. What would your visitors' priorities be? And I think that's the thing you need to figure out, you know. And I mean, just off the top of my head, I would think about visitor. I want to know where service times end. Maybe I want to watch a live service. Maybe I want to, you know, look at. So there's not a whole lot of different things that a visitor is going to be, you know, interested in. So make sure that those are a priority, and those priorities may be completely opposite of your priorities or the priorities of the church. Like, we want to put this out front because we're known for this, or, you know, whatever it may be. And it just, people are, especially today, very impatient. And they'll go, couldn't find it. I'm out of here after 5 seconds or whatever. So let's go to this next one. Oh, here it is, right in front. So let's watch this live stream instead.
Yeah, I had an experience actually yesterday, last night, and it wasn't with a church. It was a friend of mine had this belt, and he said, "I love this belt. You should check it out." And he told me the name of the company, and he showed me the belt. I saw him last night, and I thought, yeah, it really is. I do like that belt. It had like a ratchet kind of a deal to it, so you could release it, and you could adjust it very quickly and easily. Kind of a ratchet style to it. And so I go to the website, found the website. That wasn't hard. And then when I'm looking for the actual belt, it was a challenge. I mean, they had belts. They sell belts, okay? But they had lots of different belts. And then they had different colors of belts, you know, and different fabric, different, you know, leather belt and this belt and nylon belt and, you know, this. And so, I mean, I was like, this is ridiculous. I can't find what I'm looking for. And to me, they could have made it much more simpler. I even did a search on their website and it came up blank. No search, can't find it, or whatever their message was on the thing, you know. And so anyhow, that was a secular company, you know, just a product. And I'm thinking, you know, so the fix to this whole thing is we would encourage you as a church to, you know, have a dedicated, maybe a high contrast button that says watch live or join us online, something like that. That's very clear. Have it at the top of your homepage, somewhere where somebody's going to obviously see it. It's going to stand out, and you can have it, you know, there all the time. You could do some temporary stuff for holidays, but you should always have it on there, and it, you know, where they can click on it, and then, you know, if you're not streaming live or something, schedule those kind of things, service times, links to the platform. Yeah. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I mean, a lot of, we have seen some of the churches that don't show the live button when they're not live. And so you can't find it. But I mean, those are in the minority, or they're able to schedule their page to change during different days of the week and stuff.
Yeah.
But
well, we do have a feature. Go ahead.
Yeah. The key is just, you want to make it easy for people to find things like live service times, address. Those are all, you know, if I'm checking your church out, I want to know, where are you? Are you 5 minutes away or 50 minutes away? And, you know, and then I want to kind of get a feel for what the church is about. So you'll get that either through a live stream or on demand or photos of, the congregation or, other things like that. But don't hide that stuff.
Yeah. And that moves to the next point here. You mentioned there was service times. The second point here is service times are buried under creative sermon graphics. So AI has made it very easy today to come up with some pretty nice looking graphics. I mean, I use them for our newsletter. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to our newsletter, just send us an email, I guess. Go to, or you can just go to streamingchurch.tv. And is there a subscribe button to our newsletter somewhere?
There is. It's on the site. So, yeah.
It's buried somewhere. But you could always hit us up on chat. Chat's there. If we're not there, you can still put something in the chat and we'll get it. Or you can send us an email, support@streamingchurch.tv. But you might want to subscribe to our newsletter because it's really helpful stuff. It's not spam. But service times are buried under creative sermon graphics. So what I mean by that in this point here that we're talking about is it is easy and fun, especially with AI, to come up with some really pretty cool stuff, pretty nice stuff, that you could create a sermon graphic or any kind of a graphic for your church. So the problem is we get excited about that and we think, oh, yeah, this is great. We need to have it out here. Everybody will see it, But the problem is, as you mentioned earlier, is the guest, their most urgent questions are usually going to be, well, when is the time? When is the service? Where is it at? And how can I watch it live or watch an archive? So just, be careful. Sermon graphics are great. Do it. But again, the fix for this thing, and I have this in the blog here, put your physical service times, your online streaming times, your location address in plain text on the homepage. So, some people believe that you shouldn't bake this text into an image, that plain text are read faster. They load faster, number one, supposedly, and they're more easily readable for people on mobile devices and search engines. That's what they say. Is that true or not? I don't know, but put it out there, get it out there where people can see it.
Yeah. So, and there's been, as time has gone by and websites have evolved, there's kind of been some norms that have occurred with, if I scroll to the bottom of the page, the footer is going to have the address, the phone number, the service times, all that sort of thing. So take advantage of those sort of things, these kind of norms. You'll probably want it in a couple of different places. The other thing that I would recommend is Whitespace is always good. So if I've got a priority of, I want to allow my people to know where we are, when we meet, what we're about, I'm going to put those three things on my page and put everything else under a menu somewhere or something. I want to just use a lot of white space so people can go, it's not that, it's not that. Oh, there's three things here, and one of them is what I want. So, yeah.
Yeah. So white space, for those who aren't familiar with the term white space, what's white space?
White space is, you fight the temptation to, well, we've got to have everything on the page. Yeah. And so you'll go through and it's just this clutter of stuff. And you talked about, which I don't appreciate doing. We've had this battle for many, many years. You say, well, make the important thing a different color and flashing and doing all this thing. And I'm just like, let's just move all the other stuff into some secondary menu so that all I see is the key important things when I go to the site. I don't necessarily need, the secretary's email address or the admin's email address. Just put that stuff in an area where, I don't expect it to be as the header, the headline of the page. So a lot of people, they'll just go, well, just put it all there, and you put it all there and you can't see anything. It's all there. Everybody, they call and go, well, it's all there. It's just right there. And he said, well, I couldn't find it. So anyway, white space.
Well, and you can always put more of that stuff. Like there are some churches that we serve, and if you want to, like they have a thing for staff, and you can click staff, and they have a whole other page that has
Yeah.
pictures of the staff and even their emails, maybe maybe their phone extensions, those kind of things. So you can put that on a different page, so it's not like it's all jammed in there. So yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on here to point number 3. So point number 3, the mobile experience feels like an obstacle course. Um, I I mentioned newsletter that we send out, and one of the things I never really liked about our old newsletter format, we have a new newsletter format too, by the way, is it never looked great to me on mobile. And so the new thing that we're doing now, I think, looks a lot better on mobile. And there's lots of people are now on mobile devices. They're on their phones, and so one of the things that I think you need to understand, if you're a listener here to this and you are a leader in your church to some capacity, most of your digital visitors, people looking online, most of them, a large part of them, are going to access things according to their smartphone or maybe their tablet, and while they're on the move, and so you want to make sure that what you've got is going to look okay on mobile devices, and
Yeah.
that can be
And
challenging.
there's, for me, if I'm just want to look at something quick or find something out, then I'll pull my phone out, and you're scrolling, you're doing a bunch of stuff, and so I would want a very minimal mobile website. But if I'm wanting to do some deep research, I'm typically going to be on a desktop for me.
Right?
I
Yeah,
just
I
I
would be
want
too.
to, so that the experiences are different. I know that when I'm trying to find some hard to find thingamajig at Home Depot or the hardware store, I much prefer walking over to my computer and
Yes.
where I have full size pictures and I can full descriptions and stuff. It's
Yeah.
much harder for me to get what I want out of that info on the
Yeah.
mobile site, just
Yeah.
because I'm now looking at what less than 10% of the real estate screen wise. And so anyway, I would think I talked about, going this minimalist approach and only put your priority things and have a lot of white space. All that gets exaggerated when you're on the mobile. So
It's
I
true.
would encourage you to keep the mobile, because the pace of scrolling and moving on mobile is so much higher than it is on desktop. People are just, they're constantly, well, if you've
Oh
ever
yeah.
seen anybody on their phone, but they're always scrolling, right? They're not sitting there studying, taking something in. They're just, what's
Yeah.
next? What's next? What's next? Oh, this thing jumped out. So your
Yep.
mobile site needs to be able to move into that world as well.
So you're talking mobile site here. So you're talking 2 different websites.
You can set your mobile to put stuff. Even for ours, we got full menus when you go on the desktop. You go on a mobile site, the menus are all tucked away in a
Yeah.
menu icon off of the side. So it's, you don't have everything right there. So you can design your mobile experience so that certain less important things take up less real estate on your
Right.
mobile site. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
not necessarily having a completely different mobile site, although maybe that was a trend a while back as well. It's just,
Right.
let's just go, I'm going to give the mobile version of this, which has got mobile size buttons and mobile size text, and everything's 100% mobile
Yeah.
based. So
Yeah. Yeah.
not a bad idea.
Yeah. So the fix of this thing, what I would suggest is, pull up your phone, pull up your mobile device here, and go to your website, go to your church's website, test the site yourself, and make sure that if you've got a video player, embedded video player, that it scales down to what it should be to fit the mobile device, the mobile section. Again, as you mentioned, the navigation menu. consolidates into something that's more of a clean hamburger type style icon. The fonts remain readable, those kind of things. So the best thing to do would be, just pull up your mobile device and go to your church website on the mobile device and see what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. So, I mean, as we move on, let's skip number 4 for now and move on to number 5,
Okay, sure. We can do that. Number 5, I'm looking at, all right. I'm not sure why you want to skip number 4, but we'll go to number 5. There is no clear next step for your digital guest. There is no clear next step for your digital guest. Now we are real big around here. I always was when I was in pastoral ministry, and we're real big on next step. What's the next step? So if you've got a holiday service that's coming up, and again, I know this is summertime when we're recording this, but holidays will be upon us before we know it. And what's the next step? When your visitor finishes maybe watching your service, but has no obvious way to fill out maybe a digital connection card or submit a prayer request or, give online, you've missed a massive opportunity to minister to somebody.
Yeah, I think this ties into not only next step, but the trend that has been around for a while now, which is plan your visit, which kind of fits into this same thing, which is, which kind of says, okay, I surfed your site, I saw a video, I saw some photos, I saw the statement of beliefs or whatever, and now what, right? So for the first timer, it's plan your visit, which is, I think, a really good thing, because it's going to, I mean, for the people that do it really well, they have a plan your visit, fill out your name.
That's right.
Say what service you're going to be coming to. And then when you're showing up there, they have people there going, hey, I saw that, you got your family of 4 and that you're prepared for them. It would just blow their socks off if they're coming through the door and you knew they were coming and you knew some names and that sort of thing. So, but they typically also on the plan your visit thing is, if my building's in a kind of a strange place, how do I get to it? Turn past the Walmart and go behind this in order to get to me, or where do I park, or, all of these things. And then what to expect when they're coming in. So, and kind of planning your visit and so that they know what to expect before they get there. They can kind of go through this plan your visit thing. And if you're doing a really good job, they filled out their plan your visit, they gave you your email address, you send them an email, say, hey, looking forward to meeting you at 9:30 service. My name's Steve. I'll be wearing a lanyard that with my name on it and a blue shirt, or something like that. Come look for me. I usually hang out near the info booth that's over on the right-hand side of the building, So that there's just great opportunities there that I think we miss when you don't put together a clear next step or a plan your visit or that sort of thing. So,
I absolutely. Now, some people may not want to give you their email address. They might be afraid you're going to bug them or something, but you can still put relative information out there. So even if they want to be anonymous, they can still see the things you were just talking about. Where do we park? Whatever. What do we got for childcare? Those kind of things. So all that stuff is important. And then, like what we have at streamingchurch.tv is, when it comes to video, we have a very interactive video chat platform. And so you've got the ability, if you're a streamingchurch.tv customer, speaking of noise, there's kids, somebody's being, never mind, I won't get into it. Did you hear that? You got kids you got grandkids. All right. And they're supposed to be quiet. Get up right now and go chase them away. All right.
Yes,
so
you're supposed to be seen, not heard.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, getting back to our video platform here, we have the ability for you as a customer to put some of it's built in prayer requests. You could put a digital connection card. There's real estate around the video chat platform, is what I'm trying to say, that we offer that gives people an opportunity to give online, to fill out a connection card if you wanted to do that, to visit your blog, to sign up for something. All that stuff is good. So it's a great opportunity for your video, for people to, when they're watching that, to, if they have a question, they can chat with you. They have a private prayer request. Those kind of things give people an opportunity to connect with you. And, there's a good chance that they'll come and show up.
Yep. Sounds.
Okay. You don't want to talk about number 4? What's
We
the deal
can.
here?
Let's go for it real quick. I mean, it kind of goes down to, well, go ahead.
Well, I have number 4 here. If there's a problem, so one of the biggest issues that some churches have is, first of all, if they have a streaming service that can handle volumes of people, that's a problem. Now, we're geared up to handle a lot of people, so that's not a problem for us. Now, you could have some issues maybe with your network or something like that, but also sometimes there are some websites if they get hit with a lot of people, the websites themselves have problems, and so that's something that you want to kind of look at. That you've got a website that, first of all, you've got your streaming platform is very robust, like what we have at streamingchurch.tv, that can handle loads of people. But also, you want to make sure your website loads quickly, your church website, and that you're not got something that's just a number of people hit it and then something happens and it crashes. That's all I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, that's obviously you don't want to have problems with your website. Make sure you've got a reputable host and that sort of thing. Keep up with probably the biggest threat I think out there is hackers attacking your site. So that's
a lot of churches using WordPress.
Yes,
there's a variety of them, but WordPress, and that's what one of the number one targets that hackers go after is WordPress websites. Is that still valid today? Is that still true?
Oh, I think that's still true.
Yeah.
So I know I go through like every month or so, kind of go through our server logs just to see who was trying to hit what and that sort of thing. And it is 90% trying to break into a WordPress site. So we don't run WordPress in our world.
We don't.
But
our blog is WordPress, though.
Our blog is WordPress, but our other properties are not WordPress. But it's just interesting. You look at all the error messages in the logs, and it was WP login not available. All of the
WordPress.
All of the attacks are trying to get to a WordPress form that they've got that may have a vulnerability in it. So
so you want to make sure you do updates. You want to make sure that if you have WordPress or somebody else, that you're always making sure your things are being updated by those people, by WordPress people.
And if you're using a third party that's their bread and butter. So they're going to make sure that it is maintained and secure and all that sort of thing. But if you're
we know people like ourchurch.com, ourchurch.com. Those guys, Paul and those guys, they provide websites for churches, and so they would be doing updates and stuff.
Yep, they will. I mean, going with a reputable provider, you'll have a good experience. So, like going with us.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So anyhow, we just thought we'd throw this out here because I think it's important. Look at your website, follow some of these things. There's some more things you could look at. And, again, if you haven't checked out our blog, it's blog.streamingchurch.tv, and you can look for lots of articles we have that should help your church. One of them is what we talked about today, 5 signs your church website isn't ready for visitors and how to fix it. And, we did some what I call self-glossing here, but we do believe that our products and the things that we do for churches are very helpful. And if we can help your church in any way, reach out to us. You don't have to be a customer. We'd be happy to talk to you and not sell you something, but at least give you some advice or hear what you're dealing with. And you can do that by going to streamingchurch.tv. All right, we're done here. Thank you, Mr. Steve Lacey.
All right, glad to be here.
And thank you, folks, for listening or watching the Church Solutions podcast. And as I said, if we can help you in any way, please let us know. Please subscribe to the Church Solutions podcast, and you'll never miss a podcast. And again, thank you for spending some time with us today. My name is Phil Thompson. Please take care of yourself and each other, and we will catch you again on another episode of the Church Solutions podcast.